So welcome, folks, to the Squirrels. It's a day after. It's 2 days after the big result in Maharashtra, which completely it I think foxed everybody. Nobody was expecting, except I think the BJP. Nobody was expecting this kind of a result to come in. I've got Vivek Deshpande, senior journalist. He's an observer of Maharashtra politics for many years. Vivek spoke to the Squirrels earlier as well. Vivek, it's a to begin with, simple question. What do you make of this unprecedented historic result that Maharashtra has given in this election?
Yeah, I feel that this has taken everybody by surprise, and also many of journalists, many of the opposition leaders, and I think even some of the ruling party leaders have been absolutely shell shocked, and nobody was expecting this.
You're saying
Nobody saw a
even the
wave.
ruling party wasn't expecting it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, they were surprised that they got this kind of, because nobody was saying this before the elections, before the polling. Even Devendra Fadnavis was not saying. See, when the polling happened on that day, his reaction was taken at the Nagpur airport, and he said that when there is when the percentage of voting goes up, then normally it is pro incumbency. When generally it is the other way around. And then he was not very confident. He was not sounding very confident, or maybe he was concealing his confidence deliberately. I'm not sure, but he was saying that I'm sure Mahayuti is going to win. Then I'll tell you another example. There's another BJP leader whose name I can't take because it was all said in confidence. When a group of journalists asked him, he said, "Oh, शायद हमारा आ जाएगा." That was the body language was not very positive. So everybody thought that in Maharashtra the elections were very tight. I mean, either of the two alliances could win. That was the sentiment, that was the estimate of almost everyone. Now after the results come in, now to attribute it to some kind of a wave, some kind of a tsunami, is basically post facto, as I take it.
Let me hold you there for a second, Vivek. Are you
Hmm.
suggesting that a lot of see what is being two parts of my question here? Are you suggesting that a lot of this is actually in hindsight that these explanations are being given? And the second part, which I would like you to answer first, actually, is how much did Hindutva actually play a role? Because whatever we heard from you also earlier, from other people on the ground, that this, and not just you and me, it wasn't a journalist, it was Shinde who was uncomfortable. It was Ajit Pawar said in so many words that this katenge patenge does not
Yes,
work. So how does
yes.
one explain this?
No, I have said this before also. You see, this experiment of Hindutva, turning Maharashtra into another Hindutva laboratory, has been going on since the past 2 to 3 years. There is this front called Sakal Hindu Samaj, which everybody can make out that it's a BJP sponsored front. Of course, the BJP is not saying it. BJP is not owning it up, but the manner in which its rallies are being allowed to be held despite police warnings, and despite police warnings, inflammatory speeches are being given here. This has been going on since last 2 3 years, and almost every city, every tahsil place has had meetings of the Sakal Hindu Samaj, and they have been giving rabble rousing speeches. They have been trying to divide the society along communal lines. This experiment has been going on. So why did it not get them any benefit in the Lok Sabha election?
Correct.
So, because Hindutva is common to both state elections and Lok Sabha elections. It's not that Hindutva is a very local or specific issue. It's a national issue. It's a national subject. So it should have basically helped the BJP in Lok Sabha election, because this has been going on for quite some time in Maharashtra. It did not. As I always say, that Maharashtra never had a fertile ground for Hindutva, despite the fact that RSS was born in Nagpur.
Right.
RSS was formed by Maharashtrians, and their initial effort was entirely in Maharashtra. They did not get foothold for 100 years in Maharashtra. They have not been able to win any election on their own for the last so many years. Even now, the BJP's poll percentage is 26. The BJP has polled 26 to 27% in this election as
Right.
well.
Right.
So, the BJP and the RSS ecosystem never had any fertile ground in Maharashtra to be on their own. Against this backdrop, they have been making this effort through Sakal Hindu Samaj. and it did not yield them any result in Lok Sabha. So how is it that within 5 months Hindutva became a great currency for the BJP, and it had its effect, salutary effect
No,
on their results.
this
So
actually,
I am not ready to believe this. Yeah.
you brought up a very important point actually. In 5 months ago, the opposition came up with the narrative of caste census and Samvidhan Khatre mein hai. Now it has carried through the same narrative into into the Vidhan Sabha election as well. Is that was that a mistake by the opposition, you think, in hindsight, that they should have come up with a more localized narrative rather than talk about Samvidhan, which cannot be changed at the state level, or a caste census, because the caste
Yeah.
census was seen to be dividing the Hindus, and Hindutva is seen to be uniting the Hindus. So in your mind, in hindsight, did they make that mistake?
Yeah, I think both. The opposition's lethargy is now very much evident. We know how the opposition frittered with the advantage which they got in Lok Sabha. They should have worked every day on it. You see, Rahul Gandhi was not seen for these 5 months in Maharashtra. He should have camped in Maharashtra because Maharashtra was the most important state. They ought to have wrested Maharashtra from Mahayuti. So it should have been a very concerted effort, very focused campaign in Maharashtra, which did not happen. Possibly because they thought, see, when it's BJP, you have to fight the elections on a very, very different scale. I mean, it's not easy to defeat the BJP. You know that. Despite the fact that the BJP was defeated in Lok Sabha, there was no guarantee that you could take it forward very easily up to the assembly election. You will win the assembly elections as well. So you have to begin from scratch after every election when it is BJP, because it's not powerful only in terms of finances. It's powerful in terms of manpower. It has the entire ecosystem of the RSS behind it, and it is in power. That makes hell of a difference, in its favor. So when it's in power, it has administration in its hand, it has RSS ecosystem to back, it has money. How can you be so complacent? So the lethargy of the opposition is very much in evidence. But the fact that when the people of the state had voted with such spirit against the BJP on the issue of uh, ideological issue of constitution, and people were upset about the manner in which BJP conducted its politics, vitiating the entire socio-political atmosphere of the state, which is actually a state of the trinity of Phule Shahu Ambedkar, where this kind of politics is not liked by people. So when the entire atmosphere was against the BJP, you should have continued to cash in on it by doing effort every day, because with BJP you have to fight 24/7. That message is still not sunk well with the opposition, particularly the Congress, which fared so badly in this election. That's a fact. That
Right.
is one of the reasons, definitely. But if you look at it from the people's point of view, it is hard to believe that the people who had spiritedly voted against the BJP for its brand of politics, uh, they suddenly turned towards the BJP and voted BJP in what seems to be like a wave in favor of the BJP. I mean,
Right, right,
this is
right, right.
inexplicable. This is something which you
But
cannot come to terms with easily.
you see, but do you
Yeah,
believe?
and as far as the social narrative of the opposition is concerned,
Yeah,
uh, there's caste census and all. I think that's a very good line. They must continue on it, because Rahul Gandhi has taken this line of 80-20, the BJP's 80-20 line. He is now trying to counter with 10 versus 90. Now that's a very, see, at the end of the day, the idea is to uh, bring back those Hindu voters into your fold who have left you and joined the BJP.
right.
So those Hindu voters, how do you get them?
But
You
those
tell
Hindu
them
voters
that
seem
your
to have
real,
gone back to the BJP in this election. I was looking at the
yeah,
CSDS
yeah,
data.
yeah,
CSDS data, which has been released today, it appears that
yeah.
virtually every Hindu part of Hindu community and society has moved back to the BJP, at least in
So
Maharashtra.
that is the surprising part. That is the shocking part. Now we have to find out whether the people gave up their social leaning which they had acquired in the Lok Sabha election so easily to again go back to the BJP. That is a question in many minds. That is a question which sociologists, psephologists, political observers have to try to understand. But one thing which I know for sure is that the BJP has made absolutely unbelievable use of money in this election on such a huge scale. I have got reports from many places where money was actually distributed for every vote. Thousands of rupees were distributed. Those are the kind of reports that are coming in. So
Well,
there was a
yeah, of course,
mass.
we saw Vinod Tawde. Vinod Tawde was caught with cash now.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
is that really an issue in the election? Is corruption, all money, power, is this really an issue in the election? It doesn't seem to be anywhere in the country.
No, see, if you go on buying people's votes on a mass scale, see, in Vidarbha, for example, the farmers and the people were crying hoarse against, the government on the issues of price for farm produce, inflation, food inflation in particular. They were citing the rate of the edible
Right,
oil.
right,
They said that one can of edible oil was 1,500 rupees a few years ago. Now it is 2,100. They were
right.
citing the prices of sulfate fertilizer. So specific issues they were raising. And how is it that suddenly all of those people went and voted for the BJP? You cannot explain it on any other basis except for the fact that there was a huge splurge of money across the board everywhere. And what surprises me, what shocks me is, in any election, you must have covered so many elections. Any election, anywhere in the country, at any point of time, you will always have graded responses across different regions. You cannot have same response from the electorate at all the places in all the regions for all the issues. Vidarbha will have different issues. Western Maharashtra will have different issues. Marathwada will have different issues, and whatever may be the issues and whatever may be the region, the response of the people uh, is so similar. That is something which cannot be explained, particularly in a state election where it is completely localized. So this uniform distribution of response across the board in all the regions, both in urban as well as rural areas. I mean, the rural areas also voted as much for the BJP as the urban areas have. So you have not seen any graded response across the board anywhere in the state. That is
But
something which is
I
impossible.
guess too. I guess that is something really for sociologists and psephologists for figure out to figure out. No, but for journalists like us and for the average man on the street, from now that the BJP has this, and BJP individually has this huge number of seats. Shinde has also done very well. BJP has an almost 90% strike rate. Who is now, in your mind, what are you hearing about who is going to be the CM now?
Yeah, I think Devendra Fadnavis is leading in that race, and although the Shinde Sena is saying that Shinde should be the chief minister because uh, you see the situation this time is similar to what it was in 2019. The only difference is that instead of Uddhav Sena, now there is Shinde Sena. And uh, the same demand was made by Uddhav for
Mm,
2.5 years of chief ministership,
yeah.
sharing the CM's post,
Mm,
and that demand was rejected. And
mm,
that was the original Shiv Sena.
mm.
This is a section of the Shiv Sena which has uh, gone away from the original Shiv Sena. So it's not the original Shiv Sena, although technically and legally it might be now. So the original Shiv Sena was demanding chief minister's post in 2019, which was rejected. Now, if Eknath Shinde is demanding it now, by the same logic, BJP has no choice but to reject his demand. They have to say that nothing doing, you will not become the chief minister, because otherwise it will mean that they applied different yardsticks to Uddhav Thackeray and Eknath Shinde. Of course, BJP doesn't care about it. That's another matter. But then they will be exposed if they give it to Shinde directly. Then they will be exposed. People will ask questions. Then why the hell did you not give it to Uddhav Thackeray when he was demanding it?
So,
With
but
whom you
that,
had
yeah, you're
25,
right.
30 years of
In the sense that,
association.
yeah, that was 5 years ago. So maybe situations have changed now. But where does this leave
Yeah,
Ajit Pawar, despite all the
yeah.
numbers
Ajit
being put
Pawar
out?
is the most. Yeah, the most important. See, as against many people worrying about what will happen to the opposition now, what will happen to Sharad Pawar, what will happen to Uddhav Thackeray, to Congress. I think the question is what will happen to Ajit Pawar, because he is inconsequential in the scheme of things currently. Even if he doesn't stay with the government, it makes no difference to them.
Right.
They can make do with Shinde. And Shinde has proved to be the better choice. Although when they drafted Shinde into the government initially, he was supposed to be a stopgap arrangement,
Right,
and
right.
the BJP's main aim was to get Ajit Pawar. Now Shinde is supposed to be the better choice, and Ajit Pawar they can always make do without. And RSS is also opposed to taking Ajit Pawar along, so they can always get rid of Ajit Pawar if he makes too much of noises. They can say that okay, you are free to go away. So where does he go then? He has to stay with the government, come what may. And if he goes away, I mean he leaves the government, then I think he has nowhere to go, because
Right.
on the other side there's nothing. There is one more very important takeaway, which I would like to share with
Oh,
your
sure, sure,
audiences, and
sure, sure.
that takeaway is the future of the BJP. You see, in Haryana and Maharashtra, with RSS participating in full force, the BJP has made such handsome gains. Of course,
Right.
there were some other factors also which we are not talking about in this debate, but the fact is that BJP has made handsome gains in both Haryana and Maharashtra. With this, I think the marginalization of Mr. Narendra Modi and Amit Shah, that process has begun, because now the RSS will tell them that we can win without you. So you
Amit,
are not,
Amit,
uh,
Vivek, I'm just going to intervene here. I can understand you
yeah,
saying, because there is some talk about the prime minister. I think is premature, frankly, but there is talk. But I would think that Amit Shah
yes.
would be credited for the win in Maharashtra as well.
Yes, but if RSS is not participating, what happens? They have seen in Lok Sabha. So what they are trying to emphasize now is that if Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah, they have they had if they were thinking that without them the BJP cannot win, then that is not true. It is the RSS which has to play the sheet anchor, and it is the RSS which alone can win the elections. RSS and its ecosystem, which alone can win the elections for them, if they kind of try to get rid of the RSS or say that we are independent of the RSS, then they are most likely to lose. That is the message which has been given to the top leadership of, and I think with 2029 in mind, a change of guard at the top. That process has begun, and will uh, I will make this guess. I will take the risk of making this guess at this point of time that Devendra Fadnavis could be the man to look for the top job when 2029 elections come.
That's a big thing to say. Though I'm going to end this now. Vivek Deshpande, we've taken a lot of your time, but I'll quickly end. Before we end, I'm going to quickly say that Chandrababu Naidu recently said that immediately after 2024, within the same day of the result coming, Narendra Modi called a meeting where he was also there, and he had already started planning for 2029. So 2029 is 5 years off. Let's see what happens. But first, let's watch out for who becomes the CM of Maharashtra. Thanks a lot for your time.
Yeah.